big week coming up here. Not only do we get a chance to play against the number 3 ranked team in the country, but we are saying goodbye to a group of guys who mean a whole lot to this program, and it's going to be sad to see them go. But I'm hoping our basketball isn't done on after the Pac-12. Hopefully we'll still be playing a little bit more, and we can say a real goodbye to them when we're actually done. But on to the first game. This is a real opportunity for us. We can't tell you how excited we are to get the number 3 ranked team here in Gill. All of our guys are excited. I'm excited. The staff's excited, and hopefully our fans are excited. And we'll come out and we'll get some real good student support because it is a game that I think if we play the way we've shown this past weekend for the first 3 halves, we'll have a chance against this team. So really looking forward to it. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Is there a feeling amongst you guys that when you guys went to Tucson that you really didn't get your best shot? So
oh, yeah, absolutely, Stephen. I don't think we played anywhere near our best game. We played a good 8 to 10 minutes, based on the tape that I saw. So we did not we didn't give them our best game while we were down there. And I think we're playing better now. Not that we were playing poorly. I just thought we played a poor game there. So, we figured we tweak a few things, but not much. We just need to play better.
I imagine keeping Angus out of foul trouble would be important. Is that going to turn the tide in that?
Boy, it sure did, Grady. I mean, he played 9 minutes and was more productive in those 9 minutes than we were with the rest of the time he was out. So, I can't speak for the refereeing, but we've got to make sure he doesn't get in foul trouble. And if that means taking him out after his first foul, I'm not sure. We're just going to play the game like we normally do. But if we're much better with Angus than without him.
You talked previously about how the short turnaround games, you guys have struggled in that second game, and this is about as short of a turnaround as you're going to get facing a UCLA team on Sunday and then now Arizona. What have you done to kind of make sure that these guys are fresh?
Yeah, well, I thought our UCLA game wasn't even that taxing for us because they played a lot of zone against us. So it wasn't like we were as tired as if we had played a double overtime game on Sunday. But we were able to get back Sunday night after the game, so that's a start right there. And then we were able to have practice yesterday. And it was really more of a walkthrough than it was a practice. And then we'll have a all-out practice today, and we'll be ready for tomorrow. But this is one of those games where you get up for this game. You don't feel tired for a game like this. The adrenaline is flowing through your body so richly that you should be very excited to play a game like this, no matter whether it was a back-to-back game or not.
What do you think you guys have to do the rest of the way to be in?
Grady, that was a question I've been asked all day and yesterday, and I'm not, first of all, we've not been good enough to even be talking about that, so I've never been one to try and figure out what the selection folks do. I know winning a game like this on tomorrow night would at least open some eyes about Oregon State. And then you just have to win. You have to keep winning. So I really don't know. I wish I was better versed in bracketology. I think what we have to do is we have to win these last 2 home games and go 500, and then you probably have to win 3, if not all of them, in the conference tournament. That way, I cover all the bases.
Get back to Arizona.
Yeah.
Teams that have had success against them, what have they been able to do?
Well, they've been able to score on them because they're a great defensive team, and they've been able to keep them from doing everything that they want to do on offense or some part of what they want to do on offense. I think we can rebound with them. I think we can get back in transition. The teams that have beaten them don't shoot themselves in the foot, so we can't have a 17 or 18 turnover game. We can't miss foul shots. We have to be able to make all of the opportunities that are in our favor go in our favor. And I think if we do that, we'll be okay. But even having said that, I'm sure teams have played well against them and still lost. I mean, you don't get to be number 3 in the country and whatever in 3 they are without being really good.
Pretty safe to say it'll take your best defensive effort of the season.
I can't imagine that it would not. Yeah, we're going to have to be really sharp on defense. But I've been really happy with our defense. I mean, when we looked at the stat sheet from the UCLA game, if you took away the points off turnovers, I mean, they were shooting well under 40%. And that's a high-powered team, high-powered offensive team.
Do you get a sense of, I don't know what the word would be, reflection from the seniors coming into this week?
Not yet. It feels like we have so much to play for and to still play. And I'll tell you this, when you're, I mean, we technically, we still have an opportunity to finish the season, conference season at 500. To be this late, to be in the last weekend of the season and have that to play for is foreign territory for me. So I haven't even really focused on the fact that these guys are actually playing potentially their last home game at Gill. But having said that, I've been, because of the media this week, I've been forced to kind of think about it, and it's it does make you reflect. I mean, Roberto and Angus have been here since the beginning almost. They were the first real recruiting class. So they're fifth-year seniors and have been through just about everything we've been through, both positively and negatively, and it feels much more positive in that vein. But more importantly, all of these seniors they've been such good citizens of Oregon State, which makes me proud as a coach and as a quasi mentor and as a member of the Oregon State community myself. It's really nice to see such a group of guys who find giving back to the university as important as what they get from it. Seeing those guys go to games and go to shows and be a real part of the community, not just prima donna basketball players, makes me proud and makes me excited for them going forward. I mean, they're going to be great additions to the normal community once they get out of college and start having jobs and raising families of their own.
If I remember correctly, I don't think in the past you haven't been one to start seniors on senior night just because they're seniors. But
I have not been.
With Devon, is there any consideration of putting him in the starting lineup?
I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Because, I know where you're going. Putting Devon in the starting lineup's not really like changing the starting lineup. I mean, it wouldn't hurt us, and it would only be something good. I haven't really thought about it yet, but I'll think about it. Historically, like last year, putting Kevin in the starting lineup was Angus's idea. If you guys remember that, do you remember when Kevin? Or was that the year before last? 2 years ago. That was Angus's idea. And so I don't know. Well, let's see how it plays out. Let's see what happens tomorrow, and then I'll kind of worry about that then. But yeah, I wouldn't. Those kind of ceremonial things are wasted on me sometimes, but they're not wasted on me other times. So I don't know. I'm not trying to be shifty. I just don't know. I hadn't really thought about it.
You thought about Devon's new headband?
Well, all I know is since he's been wearing it, he's been playing well, and so he's allowed to wear it as long as he's playing well.
He's talked about it a couple times, wanting to start, and it's a senior, and he wants to be out there more in the starting lineup. At the same time, he's still coming off the bench, and when he does, he's producing. So just I guess, how he's handled that situation and that dynamic between the two of you, of him
Right.
wanting to start more, Can you give us some insight into that?
Yeah, the only insight I can give you is as a player myself, and when I was playing, I wanted to start because if you didn't start at Princeton, you didn't play because you only played 5 or 6 guys. But nowadays, it's a little bit different. But Devon's handled it just fine because he knows the reasons why we're doing what we're doing, and if it helps the team, I think Devon's more of a team guy than he is an individual guy. But when I look at his minutes, they're starters' minutes. That's really the most important thing. And then when it comes down to the end of the game, he's usually in there unless he's in foul trouble. So, the pomp and circumstance of having your name announced and running out and slapping fives, I figure if you do that half the time and you don't do it the other half, it's not so bad.
How much has this senior class played in changing the culture in the program?
Well, Jesse, they've played all of the role, really. I mean, say for the holdovers from the first group that I had when I came in here, these guys have done what we've asked from the day they got here, and it has not been easy. I mean, if I were to write a book or teach a course on changing a culture in an organization where the culture has been one way for so long, I'd have plenty of data on how hard it is to do. So these guys should be applauded because when we walk into a gym now, other teams think we have a chance to win, and that's a good feeling. Now, we're not quite there because we want to win those games. We don't just want to strike fear into people for the first 10 minutes of the game or a 10-minute stretch in the game. But these guys are the ones who are responsible for giving us that persona, and they've had to do it in tough times and in the shadow of having not been good here for a long time. I think that's really hard. That's different from if you're a change agent at a business and you go in and the business hasn't been doing well for a couple of years and you can fix it. That's not the case here. This was long-term illness, and these guys came in and sort of just chopped away. And, I think I've said this to you guys on numerous occasions. Every single game we play now, I feel like we have a chance to win. And as a coach, that gives me confidence, and I think they feel that confidence exuding from me, and it makes them more confident. And it's a sort of self-fulfilling thing that you kind of build upon. So they've been. I mean, I'm not even articulate enough to say how special this has been and how hard this has been.
Is there a different feeling than past years towards the end of the season because you have so many seniors and there's not the next year for them? I mean, you think there's maybe more pressure, more of a sense of urgency to kind of make something happen in these final couple of weeks?
No. I think these jobs are there's always pressure. There's always pressure, and so I know these guys want to win and they want to leave their mark. So, but that pressure is always there. That pressure is always there. And these guys do a good job of sort of internalizing that and coming out with their best when they have to. I think the real pressure is we're playing the number 3 team in the country with something on the line. It's not like we're just playing the number 3 team in the country because you have a chance to play the number 3 team in the country. We've got something on the line. Beating them would be really important to us, extremely important for what we're trying to do right now. So that's exciting. That's really exciting.
With Roberto, how much has he changed or altered his game for the better of the team? He's when he first got here, he thought that scoring 40 a game was the way you won games. And he now knows that
there's rebounding and assisting and defense and game plan and schoolwork and all these things to be done that are connected and help you not only win games but win in life. And you know, the fact that that kid's going to have a degree from Oregon State is almost as shocking as the fact that you know, we're sitting here with an opportunity to be 500. I mean, so he's sacrificed, but he's also learned a lot. And it's not surprising because he's an extremely giving person, and he is a real, he's not a diva, you know, he's a reluctant superstar. I've used that term before. And so he's learned a lot, but he's also given a lot.
Was there a moment when you saw that light go on, or has it just kind of been an evolution?
It's been an evolution. It's been a real evolution. You know, there hasn't been one point where I thought that there was some light bulb. There's been give and take. I mean, I think with all these young adults that they all think they know better than I do at times, and that's okay. But it's been sort of a give and take, and it's sort of push and pull until you get to a point where now he gets it, and I don't have to get on him about how hard you have to work or why study hall is so important. And I mean, you can just there's a whole list of things that we used to go back and forth on that now he's telling the younger guys about.
Back his freshman year, what kind of conversations did you have with him about, you know, needing to commit himself academically and kind of, you remember?
Yeah, it really started when we were recruiting him, because when we recruited Roberto, he'll tell you this, when we would go visit his school, we'd have to go find him, and he was never in the class he was supposed to be. And it wasn't like he wasn't at school, he was somewhere else in another class. So he just didn't take it seriously. And we talked constantly about respecting the academic process and finding something that you're so interested in that it wouldn't be a chore to go to class or to have it as a major. And I think he found that with new media communication, what you guys are doing. He understands now from sports and from schoolwork that you can't fake the funk. Everything takes hard work.
In some ways, is that more fulfilling for you as a coach, or as fulfilling for you as a coach, just compared to what he's been able to do on the court?
Yeah, you just corrected yourself. It's as fulfilling, because with true competitors, we all want to win. We all want to win, and we all want to play well, which is why this season's been so exciting, because we're right there with everybody. We feel like we can win every game, including tomorrow. But it has been as fulfilling, yes, because most of us won't go on to play professional basketball, and if we do, it's going to be very short-lived. So if this group of seniors, I feel comfortable, will be great additions to society. They'll be great family men. They'll be hard workers. They'll be able to hold down jobs, and they'll be able to pass along what they've learned to other people.
As far as Devon, could you just talk a little bit about kind of the growth you've seen from him off the court as well?
Yeah, almost the same thing. Devon was one who didn't really respect the academic process in high school, and he's learned to do that here. And you know, he's another one who I'll be more regardless of what happens to him basketball-wise after his career here, I will be much more impressed with the fact that he'll have an Oregon State degree. And his maturation has been equally as stunning as Roberto's, in a different way, though. You know, Roberto's was extremely outgoing from the outset, and Devon was quiet when he got here, and he was from the East Coast, and he wasn't as trusting, and he's now learned how to be Devon in the classroom. And being Devon in the classroom means being a smart guy, not a smart aleck. And it's been great to see. It's been great to see.
last week Devon was talking about how, he's a little frustrated with his minutes, but he still feels the need to lead, and he's trying to be a leader even though he has some personal frustrations with that. Have you seen that? And how is...
We talked about this a little bit before you came in. We all as players want to be the guy who's starting, and I think not enough emphasis is put on the guys who are finishing, and he's always one of the guys who's finishing. So the way I view him is we have 6 starters, and one doesn't get his name announced at the beginning of the game, but his attitude and behavior have not been anything but exemplary during this process, and that's a credit to his maturity, really.
Craig, what do you have to do, some keys to tomorrow night offensively against Arizona?
Well, offensively, I think, we have to get a good shot every time. We talk about shooting ourselves in the foot. That's turnovers and missed foul shots and missed opportunities when you have a shot or a play that's easy to make and you don't make it. 50-50 balls, those kind of things, hustle plays. We have to take care of all of that against a team like this. You can't miss an opportunity at all in a game like this. But offensively, I think, with Angus in there, we can run our stuff, we can get our chances. I mean, really for us, we have to be elite defensively against this team. We have to keep the game close so that it's not easy for them to feel comfortable in our gym. And if we keep it close, then you always have a chance to win. But offensively, we just have to not turn the ball over. We get a shot every time down. I like our chances.
Does Tarzuski, the guy in the middle, does he change anything in what you want to do?
No. Actually, in the last game, Angus did a great job on him until he got in foul trouble. And Tarzuski's a great player, but so's Angus. And so, I like the way our front court matches up. I think our length matches up with them. I think our quickness does. I think our speed does. They're a really good defensive team, though. But their bench is short, and, I can't speak for all the other teams, but I feel like we match up with them nicely. But you can't just match up with them, show up and just be a matchup. You got to play well when you're playing a top-ranked team like this.
Might sound a weird question, but are they better than they were when you guys played them last? They seem like they're hitting their stride again in this post-Brandon Ashley.
I think that they have more defined roles than when they played us the first time. I don't think they were defined as they are now because it was recent, and Ashley was just out, so they were trying to figure out, should Hollis Jefferson start, should Gabe York start, and how the rotations should go. But now I think they have that down, and they're very good in their roles. Very good. Maybe the best team I've seen in the 6 years I've been here.
Coach, you talk about Hollis having great work ethic even after bad games. What is it else you're looking to see from him other than just getting to the gym? What is it that he's not producing?
Nothing. He's a freshman, so I think when you have success as a freshman that like he's had, then when you go back to being a normal freshman, everybody's like, what the heck happened to the guy, And really nothing happened. He's only a freshman, so there's going to be a lot of volatility in that graph. And when a guy's working, that's all you can ask for. That's all you can ask for. He'll make his shots or he won't, and it'll be up to me to either keep confidence or lose confidence. But he's doing everything he needs to do.
I noticed Gary Payton having a pretty long conversation with Hollis after the UCLA game. How invaluable is that, just having a guy like that as a mentor for him?
Well, it's really invaluable because it's not just Gary, it's AC, Corey Benjamin, Jared Cunningham, all talking to all of our players. And, it was brought to my attention, and I don't know if this was true, but one of my buddies called and said, you guys had more pros in the audience than UCLA did. And they have more pros, obviously, out of there than we do. it's a real tribute to our guys, our team, our program, that those guys all came to support us on that trip. And they were at Gary and AC weren't at the USC game, but Corey and Jared were. So that's really nice, and you can't put a value on having a Hall of Famer pull your point guard aside and say, "Hey, look, kid, just take it easy. Don't try and press. Let the game come to you." Whatever he told him, you just can't put a value on that. And have AC Green come over to Eric and talk to Eric, and Jared Cunningham talking to Roberto. It's just it's great. It shows we've come a long way. I mean, you don't know this, but the guys who are a little older than you know, there was a time before when we first got here, none of the former players were around, and they didn't want to be around. So it's pretty nice to see.
Can you talk about the progress you've seen with Angus, from the first day he got here, the on-court progress?
There's I won't call it a bet, but there's an examination of who gets it the most from me on the team. And we had this discussion recently because when Jared came back, he was at shoot-around before the USC game, and he was explaining to the guys how nobody got it worse than he did, which is not true. He got it like about a third as much as the worst guy got it. Angus is in the top 3 guys who got it the worst. And it wasn't because of Angus's attitude or anything. It was just because Angus needed to get it. He hadn't been playing basketball for a long time, and he's a really nice guy, and he didn't understand that you have to be a little bit of a jerk when you're out on the court. And so a lot of Angus's development came at a price for both of us. He was mad at me, I was mad at him. But he finally had a chance to read my book, and he came over to me after his sophomore year, going into his junior year, and he said, "Hey, Coach, I finally read your book. And I read the chapter about Coach Carrill. I see why you're doing what you're doing." And he smiled. And from then on, it's been to the moon Alice with that guy. And I can name some good centers in this conference, but his name's always coming out of my mouth when you're talking about the best centers. He's a boss out there, and we feel like we get the ball down to him, he's going to score or get fouled. And I'm telling you, seeing that transformation, it makes me proud, but it makes me happier for him because of all the work he's put in. And then you take into consideration that injury. It's just been terrific.
Being a jerk on the court, as you said, is that just having an edge, or?
It's really more of having an edge and just not actually. It's not being so nice. When he came here, he was being polite to people because he's a foreign kid and he didn't want to offend anybody. And once he realized that he can be rough on the court and not be offensive, that's when his game started taking off. Yeah.
Just his development, what he's meant to this program.
Yeah, Daniel's been a big part of this program, and he came in as a walk-on, and he's been the perfect walk-on. He's been a model student, a model citizen, a model teammate, and he can take a joke, he's been a guy that the guys have teased, and he's been a guy who can tease back. I think you guys all know about his condition. Watching him fight through that has been courageous, just absolutely courageous. And he doesn't want to miss a day of practice, and some days he can't practice, and other days he can. He's the toughest impersonator of Caleb Tarczewski we have. But it's been a treat getting to know him and having him around, aside from the fact that he can usually fix anything that I have that's broken, from my phone to my briefcase to my suitcase. But we're going to miss him. You can't you can't do what we've done for the last 4 years without guys like Daniel Jones.
I got to know him when traveling with you guys, and he always knew his role, but did he, I don't wanna say that he never wanted to strive for more, but guys like that, they're practice guys, they wanna get in and they walk on, but did he get better in basketball?
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I mean, when he first got out there, he was just a hacking machine, and he's worked on his game. I mean, he's gonna be able to play basketball his whole life if he wanted to, you know? I mean, in men's leagues and things like that. Absolutely he's gotten better. But as you said, he's known his role, so he's more of an integral part of the team aspect, because I mean, you know, you look at teams, you rarely get down to 10 players like we do. And those guys get in if there's a real big blowout, winning or losing, and never complains, and you know, just a really neat person, high character, and really smart, and he'll be extremely successful once he's out of here.
I remember he represented the team in the Beavers Got Talent last year. Remember the dance?
Yes.
What do you recall from that performance?
Yeah, do you mean the one in
I saw you at it, yeah, the one in the auditorium.
in the auditorium? So he did the Western swing dance, but what you guys don't know is when we took our trip to Europe, he did the flamenco dancing on stage with the professional flamenco dancers, and he was good.
Really?
Yes. Well, he was okay. He was okay. But the spirit to be able to go up there and dance a dance that you didn't know, swing dance, and he'd taken a swing class. That's different from flamenco dancing. No, he's just has a good spirit about him and doesn't take himself too seriously, and he's a great member of this team.
Is being able to take a joke an important quality to have in a walk-on?
Oh, it's an important quality to have in life. I mean, you know, some people can't, they get a little too full of themselves, and they don't understand that, especially in a locker room, whether you're the best player or you're the last walk-on, you're going to need a sense of humor, because at some point you're going to be the butt of a joke or two or 15. And you have to be able to have thick enough skin to handle it. And you'd be surprised how many top players don't have the kind of sense of humor to take that. I mean, you know, so it is probably tougher for a walk-on, but you know. And let me tell you this, he's also the best at showing the other walk-ons how to be walk-ons. I mean, I can't spend any time on that. You know, I need my players to do that, and Daniel does that all the time.
What do you remember about having to throw him into that Arizona State game?
I remember saying some stuff in the locker room that I can't repeat here, because I was so mad at the rest of the guys for putting him in that position, because he was not prepared to go in that game. And we played with 6 guys. We played with 6 guys because I had benched all the rest of the guys. And I remember thinking that I was heartbroken that I had to throw him to the wolves like that. But he got in there, and for 3/4 of the game, we were right there. We ran out of gas, and they ended up winning by 18 or something. I can't remember. It was closer than that. I mean, but it wasn't like he was afraid. I was afraid for him. But I remember that. I was mad at the rest of the team for 2 weeks after that. And I was mad about why I had to suspend them, but I was more mad that they put their teammates in harm's way. That's good. I'm glad you remembered that. I had forgotten about that. That it?
Have you talked to the team much about just what a win over Arizona would mean to this program in terms of postseason or anything like that?
Not really. They know. This season's been, they know what's going on. Every win right now is critical, for postseason aspirations, whether it's the NCAA or the NIT. So everything's at stake every game we have. and they know it. I've really spent most of the time working on what do we need to do to win, number one, and then number two, staying really excited about the fact that we still are fighting to be 500 in the conference, which hadn't been done here, and there hasn't been an opportunity to do it this late.
Are you doing anything specific in practice to limit the turnovers, or?
It's not. It's, at this stage of the game, there's not a whole lot you can do. I'm trying to keep them calm because I think a lot of our turnovers are just nerves. Just be calm, do what you know, trust your techniques, trust your teaching, trust your work, and don't give the ball away.